more and more single every day. I'm just saying, that as a church, we probably can get back to having more family-oriented programs, more speaking about family issues, speaking about just things. It can help a little bit. It's not to say it's going to be perfect. It's not to say it's going to be like, going to make it right. Some people will live alone. Some people will get divorced. That's because they're sin. Can't get rid of that. Paul never have somebody. So I'm saying it will happen. But for the general sense as a church, it is something that I think that we need to start look into before it gets to be a pandemic. Because we need young people to start think about, the Bible speaks of it. Go and plenish the earth. The Bible creates marriage. God created marriage. This is one of his, exactly something that the church is built on, and his relationship with us is built on his marriage. And we need to remember and know that the division of persons is a hack by the devil, and that's what he wants. He works day and night to destroy the family, and at the end of it, by destroying the family, you destroy the church, and then you destroy the society. And most things, the research was done at this time, and most things that is happening in the society, the mayhem that is happening in society, when the research is done, and it can be proven that most of those persons who are doing this mayhem come from broken homes, not family structure, proper family homes. So the devil knows what he's doing. And we as a church need to start counteracting that by teaching our membership more about family life and about family relationship.
All right. Wait, Brother Vassal, wait a minute, brother. You soon come in, because I think we're on to a very important subject this evening. And as Elder Scott says, we have failed. But I look at what took place 2 years ago. The pandemic that took place 2 years ago, Diamond Acres had a lot of young people, young men and young women, right? And because of what took place then, and something that happened within the district, many of our young people stepped away. I want you to follow me closely, because now we're looking, if you're going to look globally, there's a lot of young people in the church. Even though over 1 million leave the church every year, you have the same amount of number or more joining the church all over the world. One of the fastest growing places with young people is South America and Africa, right? And when you look at it and you see the percentage that leaves the church, young people, 100% leave the church at age 18, 19, 20, leave the church. They go out searching to see if there's something else that they can find, right?
I don't cut your hair, but most of these persons that leave the church, they are coming from a Adventist home.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And that's why I'm on the family.
That's what I'm saying. But most of those who are coming in from homes that are non-Adventist. So they're coming, and we have to make sure that the church has people who can teach, people who can help to make sure that these people are staying in. How do we keep them? How do we help to empower them? What is it that we are producing? Why is it that is it that we did something wrong why they stopped coming here? Is it that, because they wanted us to have stood up for a situation, right?
I think it's deeper than that, because it's all about the district.
Part and parcel, if you talk to them even today, some of them still have that on their agenda. It's still part and parcel of what they think. And we could have stood up more. And they didn't know what we did. Many of them didn't know what we do. Yeah? But when you look at the generation, look now. There are women in here that I know want to get married. Right now. Want a partner? Woman in the church who wants to get married. And there are always going to be more women in the church than males. It has always been. 57% of the church is women. 43% is male. So we are always going to have, you know, the Bible speaks about even one man having 7 women. It's not literal. That was literal, yeah? So we have to recognize too that there's a difference between those who come and want Jesus and those who come, because the equal number, when you look at Matthew 25, it was an equal number of virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. It was always like that. And the disparity that when we see anything other than that, we're going to say, listen, why is the church failing? I don't think it's the church that is failing. It's not the doctrines. It's the lifestyle of some of the people. It's not the church itself that is failing. It is the lifestyle of some of the people and how we live and what we present.
I can say, elder, as sister, the mic. I can say what is failing is family structures are failing. The families are failing. You have a young girl or a young boy and they are fine at 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. As they reach 17 and 18, they rebel against family, they rebel against the church, they just leave the church, and they are from family home. Many persons come here today who have their kids, and their kids are not coming to church. Young boys and young girls are not coming to church anymore. For no major reasons, they just stay at home. Senior youths will be taking charge now and leading out in our church, looking to become leaders. They are staying home. And you can talk to them, there's no major reason why they're staying home. Yes, sister.
Elder Scott, one, you can't force marriage on people, right? I'm not saying that's what you're trying to do, but we just like clarity. So one, everything is a season. And it's not the marriage season now for some. It is going to be, but it's just not it right now. You can't, listen, church, it's God's church. And no matter how you pray, and if God doesn't see it fit for the season that we're in, for certain things to happen, it will never happen. And what we have to learn to do is not have anxiety over things. Be anxious for nothing. Diamond Acres is maybe the church that you're not seeing a lot of marriages. But for a lot of us who know a lot of other Seventh-day Adventist churches, we're seeing a lot of marriages in the churches, right? So you can't use Diamond Acres to solidify for everybody else. That's unfair, okay? Very much unfair. And it's not, if it's not the season for marriages to take place here, you leave that alone to God. When it is time, it is going to be so flushing. Maybe you are the same one who going to complain and say, mighty God, look how much wedding we have. Me I will book 2 on one day, right? Next thing, Elder Vassar said that the LGBTQ is one of the reasons why we're not having a lot of marriages. It can't be in Jamaica. That can't be the case. Because even in America, no matter how much you see the LGBTQ carrying on, I'm going to be honest with you, the statistics for the LGBTQ is so small. They're a minority group. They are less than 15%. LGBTQ as a community, it is less than 15%. In the United States. Now, but I talk about what it is in Jamaica, because that has to be hidden, right? So it is not the cause. What is the cause for you're not having a lot of marriages in Jamaica? Is the baby mother culture and the baby father culture, because they want to have sex and them end up having sex and having children out of wedlock. No, the church has not failed with having children out of wedlock, because the church is still the place to be for marriages. It's still the example. You guys are still the example. I am also married. I will probably in here married. We don't have perfect marriages, but we're all married. Me married 19 years, you have other people married. You understand? The church is still a good example for marriage, right? But the problem is why some people are not getting married is because of the baby mother and baby father culture.
I think, Sister Jack, I think you probably misunderstanding what I'm saying here. We're trying to say that it's not about forcing person to get married or be married. What we're trying to say, there's no interest in that direction. Yes, man. A lot of things wrong with that, and I explain to you shortly. Yes, man. Hold on. There's no interest in that direction. And the ones them that are getting married are struggling so much still. There's a lot of divorces in the church. And you need to understand, even the Diamond Acres Church now, we have to look internally at ourselves. I'm not talking about no other church, as I hope in my statement was in our local congregation here, what we have seen here that as a church that we can address. And, huh? No, they are not promoting it. Yes, I did say that, but okay, but mainly though, in our local congregation, I believe that we need to speak more of family and family life. And one of the reasons I think, Elder, we used to have a pastor here. His name is Pastor Phoenix. He used to carry a lot of family life program. You know, he used to meet with like all the married couples and show films and all. So he encourages it. And what happened by encouraging it, you see it start filter on. And I believe, as going back to the leadership level, most of the pastors that are coming in are the younger pastors. It's not their focus. And because when it's not a leader's focus, then you'll find the congregation follow. The church will not grow as higher than its leaders. If a pastor come and is not evangelistic, the church evangelistic will go down. If a pastor come and is very high in evangelism, the church will grow in evangelism. So I believe coming from the higher up, they're not coming with that verve to say family life is important because they themselves are struggling. They themselves are struggling. They don't come with that ferventness. And when they come, you hardly see the wife. Listen to me, church. Church, I want you to listen to me now. When they come, when you look at their family, you're wondering, their family structure don't look as solid as how it ought to be. It will filter into the church. So it starts from way up. So we here now as a church, we as our district are, so we can see the issue, and as a local level church, we can look at it and try to see if we can fix it. So today, from the scriptures, I will put some pointers that can assist. I can assist relationship, and I can assist married couples, and can assist family, because we realize that not only married couples having challenges and are pulling apart, but we are seeing also the young kids them that is in relation in that family are also pulling away from the church. So the essence, what is happening is the breakdown in family structure. And the devil is winning this battle at this point.
Please stop saying that, Elder. Please stop saying that. Please take this one in you don't smoke, but take this one. We have to speak truth. Do the brethren leave the church, or the church leave the brethren? Brethren can't leave church. Church is a movement. So you have to keep up with the church. The church is moving. We think that we leave the church. When them leave gone, all them gone, then they come back, then they say the brethren here. Somebody take them space. And that is what we fail to understand. You can't leave church. Because if you're not keeping up with the principles of church, it is going to leave you. For you are supposed to, it's a be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You get changed when you start act the things that the church teaches. And if everybody who come as a learner to go teach, as Jesus said. Jesus called them and he never called them to stay inside that church. He called them and said, come follow me. And when they come, he said, go call somebody else. So you are called to go. If you're not going, then you're not doing the purpose for which you are called. And please, brethren, stop talk so you leave church. Is church leave you?
Why are statistically, why are we having 50% are above 50% of marriages end up in divorce? Why are we having so much marriages end up in divorce? And I mean, in the church, we're talking about in the church. And I am saying is that as a church and as a body, we need to put more emphasis on family life. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm here, you know. That's all I'm saying, you know. Find a way in our little corner here at the Diamonicus Church, in our little space here, so. Let me be an example to say we're taking family life serious here at our little church. Are we trying? You know, and as leadership, we have to, if our evangelists go down, then the leadership meet and say, Ivan, meet, we're going on the road. We are trying something, don't it? That's the point. So we can't just sit down and just fold our arms and say, okay, it's affecting us. And we want to put a lid on it. And we want to try our best. With the unction of the Holy Spirit, we try our best. Because we only can do as much as God allows us to do in our own time, in our own space. And then when we pass, or when we move on, somebody else take it up with a different challenge. And that's it. So let us do what we can do here. Yes, Ella.
Yeah, just looking at actual statistics, as my sister was we were just questioning together as to whether or not we actually have a downturn in marriage. And we're looking at the statistics here that speaks from 2001, where the total amount of marriages in Jamaica was 22,300. And we've been having a downward trend. There were times when it went up a bit. But the last statistics for 2019 that was given, down from 22,000 to 17,000.
Wow.
That's approximately a 25% reduction.
That's a lot.
So it is an actual fact that we're having less marriages. And there are multiple reasons. What we have to try to avoid, we don't need to find the reason, because there's no the reason. There are multiple reasons that we need to talk about as to why less people, right? Some of those reasons include that people have gotten, generally speaking, more selfish. That's a fact. More people want to get rich, so they want to delay having children so that they can sort themselves out, get the fancy house, etc., etc. We have more wealthy people around us, and we want a part of our hearts want to compete with them. So there's more stress on marriages these days, right? Years ago we used to talk about keeping up with the Joneses, but there's so many Joneses around these days. So there are multiple facts. Also, the question was asked earlier on, we as a church, we have been failing the church.
And listen,
right?
Ella, I'm not cutting you, you're going to continue. But that statistics, you know, I would love if you could narrow down to the church, not just Adventists, but the general church population in Jamaica, because it's mainly church people who get married. That simply means a majority of that decline, 25%, affects the church.
Yeah, okay. So a couple of years ago, we used to have something like, I think it was 7% divorce rate in the church. And then a few years later on, the church catch up with the world, where the amount of divorce rates within the church was running on par with the world. Right, some of the reasons for that, whereas in marriages in the world, people will just live and keep cheating on. In the church, they don't want to do that, so they get divorced and move on, and stuff like that, right? But one of the reasons why I say we have been failing as a church, and we have to take responsibility, people do leave the church. I know we can come with all kind of jargons and terminologies. Christ had said there was a point when people then, when Christ was walking, they walked with him no more, right? They left, right? Bottom line. But one of the areas that I think I have failed the church, right? When I was growing up as a youngster, we had more big guys around that were just available. You understand? Church is over, lunchtime, we're all having lunch outside. AY finished, we're all chatting, playing domino, everything. You want to ask a guy something about sex that you don't want to talk to your dad or your mom about, we have some boys in the corner, we talk about it, we roll, we play domino, and we ask some questions that is not norm. Most of us, as we get bigger now, we make our lives so busy, we don't have time for the young people in the church anymore.
Church family.
Right?
We don't have time for church family.
Exactly. We don't have that anymore. So we have less, even though sometimes we click up, we have less friendship within the church.
True.
Right? We have every man for himself. Every marriage for himself. You're up on your own. Right? I remember when we were growing up, there were 7 of us guys used to walk. We used to, not irrelevant now, but we used to call ourselves the Magnificent 7 as guys. And we had planned that we want to get married and we're going to have the Magnificent 14. All 14 of us going to stick together. We're going to support each other. If there's a problem in the marriage, right, we're going to pull the person together and we're going to have a meeting, all 14 of us, and we're going to support each other. You know, I mean, that kind of went through the window. You understand? But it was a good plan. Right? And we need to get back to those things. We need to have a situation where we're not gossiping, but my sister should be able to come, right, and say, listen, I want us to have a little chat, some of you guys, with my husband, right? And we're not going to be on your side, and we're not going to be on your husband's side. We're going to be on both of your side. And we're just going to sit down and we just chat. We're going to be raw. I'm not going to pretend that I don't have problems, but I'm going to share my heart with my brother. And we're going to work things out. And we strengthen each other, right? It might not be at an AY thing. It might be at a cook fish thing at my house. Yes, sir, in my garden, whatever. Right? But we need to have situations where the church family, right, meet outside the church. We just come together, your house, my house, and we just play domino, we have fun. Right? The young people need to be growing up in an environment where they see that the church is for them, available for them socially. Right? We can't ignore their social needs. Right? You see that little thing downstairs? That's why Alpha River support that. Right? Where we need to be able to sit together, eat together. Right? Christ knew that some of them that were eating together with him, right, that he fed would have been crying or crucifying him. Right? But he said he's going to feed the wheat and the tares together. Right? He fed them together. Right? Because in feeding them together, he ended up with more wheat that he would have ended up if he had said, listen, I have nothing to do with the wheat, the tares. Right? So we need to just support each other. I'm not saying don't be concerned about soul salvation of others in terms of baptism, but we need to understand that the social coming together is a part, an integral part of making sure that people stay in the church and people do get baptized and married, stay together strong.
That was what, and I'm going to go into my presentation shortly. I'm coming to you, and that was what won me to the Adventist church. Social gathering. No, I'm serious. That was what won me. Yvette brothers, Yvette has a whole lot of brothers, about 6 of them. And I remember when I joined the group, they took me underneath their arms. I want you to listen to me carefully. I'm talking my private business now. Because I bet Yvette, I wasn't a Christian. She was a nice young girl in the church, and I bamboozled her. Telling them a secret. I bamboozled her, knock her up. But her brothers and her family figured that I was a decent boy. So they bring me around in the circle. Them used to always go to church and them bring me to play football with them. They make me captain the cricket team. They were all, them come for me and say, Yvette, stay home. I can't Dwayne, come to Dwayne, I go play football with Dwayne. And then come for me at Sunday morning time. Bring me to church. And about 3 years, I played, no married there. Play ball with them and up and down, and my little son Dwayne was growing up. I am telling you, up and down. But guess what? I wasn't a Christian. I want you to listen to me carefully. I wasn't a Christian. Even if I turned back. But we were married. We were married. I'm out of all the brothers, I married the youngest. We got married very young. 21 or 22. We got married very, very young. I wasn't a Christian, but I let them know that I married them sister. I was serious. Yes, I knock her up. I take her to the church, but I marry her. So they accepted me as a family. And that is what brought me into the church, how they treated me, play football, social gathering, and we go about and we go to camp and do all kind of things. And then I eventually got baptized. You understand what I'm saying? So I know about that. I know about that. And Diamond Acre used to be so good at that. Every Saturday night we used to be here. Hundreds of us. I don't think you guys know, you know. We gather in here and we play dominoes and we eat fritters. The ladies them fry fritters there and we eat fritters before COVID. And it was fun. Men. But about a lot of us. All the young men them. Elder, we need to bring it back. And we used to chat some deep stuff. The church need to go back to there. So what we need basically is a support group. A support group for the young people, them, or for the young married couples, them. That support group that they can lean on us and we can encourage them and we can, get together. I hear you, we have failed as a church. And we have failed as a church to nurture the young people, them, to let them understand that it's not a good thing to go there and when you feel in need, you go shack up with somebody. You're not interested in marrying a young girl, You just want a peace. And when you're satisfied with her, you move on. That's not what the church teaches. That's not who we are. It's better to be married with the possibility of divorce than stay in fornication for the rest of your life. I believe that. If you see a girl and you can't hold your pants, you can't put something in place to marry the young lady, it's a possibility you might divorce 50%. But it's better to live like that or live in fornication for the rest of your life. Because you don't have any chance when you're living in fornication.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I really think that it's a very vital topic. But I really think that everybody should wrap up their speech in a quick that everybody can say something because everybody have a vital point. Yeah. And you just said something that is very, 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 very interesting. I can tell you this for starters. All right. For leaders, if young people don't see certain attributes in a leader, and I care how me look up to you, if I don't see a certain type of husband or a certain type of loving towards your wife, I won't have any conversation with you about a woman because I don't see that in you. That's the thing that we are lacking. All right. It's like if I'm talking to a young lady, it has to be like privacy or it may look in a certain kind of manner. We need more publicity on those stuff. Meaning, when you want to get married at a young individual, you should be bold. That means that you can talk to that person in any era in the church and whatsoever. I mean, it should not be a case where young marriage stay on the low. It should be a case where you publicize it more. Elders speak about it. Those persons that are married already show those attributes of being married to influence those young people to get married. Because if I see elder, I heard elder said something about the years passing and where marriage percentage go down. Those are the vital things. You can't really look again and see certain happy married couples. That's the thing, That's the thing. I heard of a little story then. I'm going to wrap it up. I heard that there is two Christian persons, two Christian married couples. Whenever they have any issues or any arguments and they come to church, they are the biggest friends and everything, but they don't show those things around people. So because of that relationship, many get influenced by their actions, how they live. That's the thing. We need more stewards in whatsoever we are saying, that we can influence the younger ones to do the same. Okay?
You are one, and this is a young convert, just baptized. You are 100% right. Yes. Because when I was getting, there are some members of the church and some one and two Yvette brothers. I used to look up to them and look up to their marriages and say, I would love, my marriage to be like that. And we don't have a lot of that in the church anymore. Husband and wife not even sitting together anymore in church. Husband and wife not even sitting together. Husband and wife should be able to sit together and hold each other and in church. So you let young people see that, hey, this is good. This is something good. They will not get married unless they see people loving. And we need to do that here. And this is, as the elder said, this is a conversation that we need to have. And this is important to the church. In our little corner, let us try and make a difference here at Diamond Acres Church. And every year, and believe it or not, every year we have The Holy Spirit has rested in our heart as leaders, and we have like a function, we have like a year of the church that we need to focus on. And I think the Spirit is leading us to focus on relationships in the church and marriages. Why can't we just select a year and say this year is for focus on internal relationship in our church and marriage couple in our church? And not just marriage couple, but families, that including children and everybody. Let us win them back to Christ. Because a lot of young people who are members here, who have their family come here, not coming here anymore, and they're not going anywhere, they stay at home. How can we get them back coming to church? So we focus on family. So we use the strategy to focus on family moving forward. It's something that we probably can look at as a leaders' council where we meet, but we have to have an identity. In everything, we have to have an identity. I'm going to move into the presentation. I don't start the presentation yet.
I know that, sir. But on a point of observation, I gather from what everyone who has contributed already, there needs to be something motivational about marriages nowadays than any other time. You say something about married couples sitting together and holding hands and all of that. It's fine, and we don't want to do things that will distract the youngsters from hearing the word. You understand? I know they'll be focusing on hearing the preacher, but seeing couples holding hands and all of that, they will tend, anyway, before you get into the meat of it, we need to motivate our youngsters more about relationships and all of that. And I think in true essence, there has to be a program, yes, but not that the church is going to concentrate on it fully. Because you don't want the community service department to get jealous. You don't want evangelism to get jealous and say, oh, you just concentrated on the young people. You want to marry them off, and the evangelism section is not being attended to, and the Sunday Sabbath school is not being attended to, and other things. But what I'm saying basically is that there needs to be another way of getting the young people interested in relationships. And by that, I mean something to motivate them. In days gone by, if I wanted to marry Jack, then I would have to check how much cows and how much horses our father have. That was a means of motivation. And what I would have to do is probably go home and study my dictionary to come in with some big words and say it to Jack, and then get her to be interested in me. The whole fact is that the relationships nowadays, they're not based on how you and I started our relationship. You know, it's all about, as Jack said, it's all about somebody say about a baby mother thing, and it is true. A guy now will show off and say, boy, I have 3 baby mothers, but you'll not hear him say, I'm going to get married. You understand what I'm saying? Now, similarly, in our situation in the church, you know, I don't know, I'm just speaking for my example. I got in the church because my wife actually dragged me in the church. You understand? The family was there, and my grandson and wife, they actually were the one who woke me up in the morning and said, we are going to church. You're not going to find that in many families. And even the relationship, when it comes into the church, you know, you're still not going to find where parents who are attending church will go and get their child or our sons and daughters outside and take them in. We try, you know, some of us have tried. But there are some things, as people might say, the devil is doing his work 24 hours a day. What they're seeing is more attractiveness outside. They're seeing more Rihanna and Rocky not getting together and having 2 children more than anything else. They will tell you all about the movie stars and the music pop I am icons, rather than some of them will listen and they want to hear about Jesus Christ. You understand? So because of that, we have to dig deep and say, how can we motivate youngsters to come back to the church? Are they just seeing us as some old fogies just sitting and singing songs? Just like my AY program. I think sometimes we that is here now shouldn't be here. We should have a set of youngsters, controlling and doing their thing and having their AY program as they want it to be.
It starts in the family. Thank you very much. And let us move into
Elder,
the program.
can I
Have a reader? I need somebody who can read for me, please. Genesis 2:24. Genesis 2:24. I'm going to take you. But let me start. Genesis 2:24. And somebody else find Matthew 6:33. Matthew 6, verse 33. Genesis 2:24. Matthew 6:33. Yes, Elder. Yeah, let me hear from Elder.
The reason
and
why
then this
I
little
just
young
wanted
girl
to,
here. Yeah, go ahead.
I promise,
Make it
no
short.
matter. Just to ensure we understand. This is when we deal with issues in marriages, we have to be real, right? When there are problems, people are hurting and there are pain. There will be women and men in our congregation that when we talk about the beauty and the prettiness of marriage, there's pain to reflect on. So we have to be careful that we don't ignore that. A brother or sister might be sitting in the congregation now, just reminiscing on what they don't have, right? So as we approach this matter, we need to let people know that we care about the pain that has evolved out of brokenness. Right? We're not pretending that it should be this and how come you not all and walk nice together. There's pain, and whatever structure there's going to be planned to go forward, it must be an appreciation of what the damage might have done emotionally, and we're here to support you heart to heart as individuals first, and by God's grace to help to repair the marriage if so.
And what start is, as a youngster, the young convert says, our attitude as married couples and the example that we're setting for persons in the church, that is very important. I hear Elder talk about it's very important that young people see that there's still love in marriage. Because if they don't feel there's love in marriage, they're not going to deal with it none at all. And they're not going to approach it. And persons who are struggling in marriages, they also need to see members in the church that can say, I want to have a relationship like Tom Jones and Sister Jones. And talk to their husband or their wife about it. Because they see that example. An example is very critical and important in marriages.
Good evening. I don't marry. I don't marry yet.
You're hoping to get married?
Yes.
Okay.
I really, I'm going down to earth. I really run my husband them, honestly, because I get involved, but what I need is not, what I see is not what I want from the person. So I don't stay in it. That is the person who I am. If I get involved with somebody and I don't see the quality, what I want, I'm not staying in. Understand? And I am single now. Not say I can get married anytime, but I'm single now. But what I'm trying to say, we need a single,
yes,
single ministry, couple ministry, and somebody who can talk down to earth anything. That's what my church is all about.
All right.
Anything. Just open up, and you will get the single people open up back to you. What for married as broken, you open up your little secret, and it's open back, and you can bring marriage back together. And you can bring the young people, when they hear about that, you're part of the relationship and back, and then they say, oh, and they take a little time, work it out for themselves, and then you will get a lot of married in the church.
Thank you very much, sister. Yes, we're getting somewhere. We're getting the fever. Yes, Genesis 2, verse 24. I know, I know. Yes.
Bless the Lord.
Yes, sister.
A lot of the problem really with saying singles want to get married is our dear beloved young gentleman. Because you hear they saying that they want to get married. Ask them why they want a wife. Oh, want somebody who can wash, fi clean, and fi cook for me. You don't need a wife, you need a helper. You can pay somebody to do that. No, you see a young lady and you tell her, boy, you want to get married, why you want a wife? Wash, cook, and clean. Where the lady going to do? It's a helper you want, it's not a wife. Because a lot of them don't understand really what is a wife, the purpose of a wife. It's not just to play the role of a helper. So that is the problem we're having. Yes, that's the main problem we're having.
It is, it is, okay, let me see the hands. Let us keep it together and let me see the hands, please. Let's keep it together. Okay, Gladwin, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, funny thing is, me and Sister Samantha during lunchtime, we were actually talking about the same thing. Yeah, kind of similar to what she was saying. I think the issue with a lot of young men today, I even spoke about it to you, Ella. Nowadays, the young men, they want submissive providers. Yeah,
Submissive providers.
Yeah.
Wow.
They want to have a woman that works, that cooks, that cleans, that brings in the money, that do everything while they sit back and do nothing. And then when they come home in the evening, expect to wear the pants in the house and whatever they say goes. I think that's the big issue that I'm seeing personally. I've never really been in like a relationship like that, to the best of my knowledge. But I've seen it where I've been around some of the persons I'm at school now. When I was in high school, and even right now, I'm in college now, I hear them, the way how they talk and carry yourself and stuff like that. That's what they want. And us as Seventh-day Adventists, that shouldn't be the case. And that's the issue that we want to attack and to get rid of that stigma. So yeah.
Okay. I won't comment.
Some of the times when what you say, then some of the times, it come back and it say, God, you know what happened? Yes, we have failed some of the times. And you know why? What is it that we could have done better? What is it that we could have done better that this young lady, that young man, Gladwin, and that woman, that they could say that, all the men want are maids. What is it that our men are doing?
The mothering men.
What is it that they're doing?
It's not all men are
Why,
like that.
why is it that they're not inside here? Why is it that majority of the members of our church are women? What is happening? All right. We are not educating ourselves as we ought to.
Men.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are supposed to be the providers, and the priests. But when we don't understand our roles, so we have to go back then to the drawing board and we have to look at how can we help our men and our young people to see our roles.
Come back to elder here, the mentorship, the coming together as what Archer said, and we have that group of men talking with youngsters and play games and go to and cookouts and go to Blue Mountain with man talk, and we talk raw man things, and we groom the younger men them to how to treat and care for the opposite sex. And they need to be learned. They need to be taught. And we, as he says, we have failed. Our generation have failed the men in the church. And he's right.
Why is it that I grew up in the church from a youngster?
The generation before you taught you well.
Yeah, why did I stay?
The group.
I stayed because there was always people who I could go to. There was always, I fell in love with Jesus. That simply means when I didn't see these people, I had a relationship with someone who was above these people. I fell in love with this man that up until today, I barely can tell you that I have not been in church every Sabbath. I don't get sick. So it may be one time I live in London and I don't go to church. Yeah? Other than that, I'm in church every Sabbath. I get all boil on my face and I go to the operation and I still go to church. Yeah, go hospital and get them put bandage on it and I don't stay home. So I fell in love with Jesus. I think what is happening is that our young people are not falling in love with Jesus. They're falling in love with sex. They're falling in love with the material things. Whose problem was this? You know whose problem is that in the Bible? A young man by the name of Solomon. He had this problem. Him find out, say, him have 300 wives and 900 concubines. And him can't service them. He won't have them. So our young men now feel like that is the stage that they're in now. I want all these girls. No money, because Solomon was rich. He could afford it. But these girls now, I don't want to say some of the things.
They can afford it. These girls can afford it.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Elder.
Wait, I'm going to cut because you see the suffering that is taking place, and the suffering has come into the church. Listen. It has moved itself from the society, because when we go and when we speak to some of these young people and they come into the church, this young lady, she has 2 children. She come into the church, I'm not telling that you don't have a baby father. This young woman, look, I'm telling you of the reality that you are seeing right before us. So it happens, and then the church is supposed to be the gateway to the kingdom of God. We're supposed to help them. We're supposed to be knowledgeable enough that we can counsel with them, to nurture, help them, to nurture, and to know what is happening and what is it that has happened to them.
That is what we're doing.
And not to allow this thing to happen to them again. Because now I have changed my relationship, because I have this relationship with this man now who has become my husband.
Even what she says earlier, her standard now has changed. Her standard now has changed. She don't want to be no helper for no man. She wants a real husband.
We have a responsibility as a church. We also have responsibilities as parents. Yes? Now, we want our girls to get good husbands. Are we training them to be good wives? We want our sons to get good wives. Are we training them to be a good husband? No, you talk about, liming with them. I remember once upon a time in Diamond Acres, when sunset come, church not done. We are here, available to the youths and to each other. We lime, we talk about all sorts of things. There was a time when my car was filled with young people. And the things that they speak about, their minds were so broad. It wasn't just any foolishness. They talk sensible things. They want to know things. Are we there to guide them? We just come church, shut church, go home. We need an avenue for the children, for the young people. We need an evening. When I was a child, I looked forward for young people night. I used to go to a 7-day church of God. I have a night called Young People Night. That don't miss me. Wednesday night, or whatever night it is, that don't miss me because it was so good. You learned so much about Christ. There were so many games to play about Christ and bringing people together. Now, if we have an avenue for the young people, when they come and they meet and greet, they're probably not dating, but they're getting to know each other and see the potential in each other. The church is supposed to be here, open to everyone. If you knock, it open to you, so to speak, right? So if we have that avenue and that outlet for them, then they won't be so anxious to run out there. And if when they're here, we are teaching them and we are revealing things to them and we are helping them. Now, a lot of young people here have potential, but there's no resources. Diamond Acres, a beautiful church, beautiful grounds. I see in my head, this could be, and in my heart, is what I want for my church. This could be a center of influence. Yes? Now, if we have, let's say, a games evening, good, clean games evening for, outlet, young people come. We don't want just the young people to be here. Because if the young people are here alone, somebody said this time should be for them, but we ought to be here to support them. We need in Diamond Acres to rise up some church mothers. When you come to me with a problem, I'm not going to run and tell Elder Scott, say, they come to me and so on. So, no, I have to find a way to help that person. And sometimes it's not financial help that they need. They just want somebody to talk to. They want an outlet, Elder. This church, we have a beautiful grounds, we have space. It needs to become a center of influence, not just for our young people. We want young people to see the church and run come.
Thank you.
They want to see what is happening over here and run come.
Thank you very much. And I say we have to leave. And it was a good discussion, fruitful discussion. And I have to leave. AY is coming to do their thing. I haven't started my presentation, so we have an opportunity to look at this next week and we can further have our discussion. And as you say, we need to get back that social aspect in our churches. And just not here, but generally speaking, churches are being locked up. I used to go to St. John's, and St. John's used to have the guys them out there every night, all kind of stuff. But
for the AY program to be successful, the young people have to come to Bible class. We can't have no other program going on in the church where they're staying away.
No, they had a class.
Listen to me, just listen.
They had their own class.
I want you to
today.
listen. Just listen.
They had some classes today.
No.
Bible
But
class.
I'm saying
Today.
something. I'm saying something. When we have Bible class, when these things are discussed where it belongs to youth, we want them in the church.
Yes, I know, but today they had something to deal with. I spoke to them. So thank you, Helder. But we are getting there, sister. We have some things planned. We have a court, a tennis court, a basketball court, a netball court that is already passed by the board. So we should be putting some structure in place in the probably the next board meeting, we're talking about it to get it up and going. So we have some things putting in place that we can start to get the young people them involved. Thank you very much, and we have to continue this fruitful discussion another day. Thanks.